Hi, so to my mind, this is one of the most incredible inventions man ever came up with. Because we're surrounded by it, we don't really think much about it, but it's thousands of years old. It's an incredible material that's been used and is used in a whole range of things, from packaging to dissemination of media. There's a cathedral built from it. There's train wheels are built from it. Domes in churches were built from it, boats have been built from it, statues are made from it. And we're not talking about little models, we're talking about 2 and 3 metre high statues that adorn the outsides of churches. Lecce in southern Italy is famous for this. And that's just in its native raw source. Now there is another material that was invented in 1859 by Thomas Taylor, and that's called vulcanized fibre. Now vulcanization is a process that rubber undergoes with heat treatment and sulphur, and that forms cross-linking. Vulcanized fibre has no heat treatment and doesn't use sulphur. What it uses is good old paper and zinc chloride. If you take zinc chloride at 70% solution, it will dissolve cellulose. It turns it usually into a kind of a black mush. If you only do that for a short amount of time, what happens is the cellulose fibres begin to dissociate and dissolve into nanofibrous cellulose. So you dip the paper in some zinc chloride, zip it through a press, give it a press, and because those fibres have now dissolved a little bit, they act like a glue. So the original cellulose fibres act like a fibre reinforcement, and the nanocellulose acts like a glue, holding the whole thing together. What's really great about this is if you keep dipping the paper in progressively lower and lower zinc chloride solutions to 0.05%, it begins off at 70%, ends up at 0.05%, all of the zinc chloride leaches out and you get a product that is 100% cellulose, and the zinc chloride can be reused. There's no waste involved. Now this 100% cellulose that you get, because it's all been compressed and cross-linked and glued, it is a remarkable material. It's lighter than aluminium. It's stronger than leather. Sort of like a tough horn-like material. It's stiffer than modern thermoplastics. In fact, these days it's used for things like skateboards and skis, and you put it under thin wood veneers to stiffen up the thin wood. But prior to the invention of plastics, by the 1930s or so, it found a huge range of uses. Quite a lot of the time it was used in suitcases, had incredible electrical insulation properties, so it was used for electrical insulation. You'll find the parade helmets of the German army were made from it. It was used for washers of all descriptions and the backing paper on sanding discs because it's so incredibly tough. So it had a huge range of uses that have basically been forgotten, because this vulcanized fibre can be made in a roll-to-roll process using that zinc chloride bath system that we talked about. And the product at the end of the day has no waste. You can think about the zinc chloride as being a catalyst. It's pure cellulose and so is renewable and recyclable and disposable. I don't quite know what else you would want from a plastic material. Now it is still made. It's made in 5 grades. There's a commercial grade, which is a standard grey, black or red, and used for things like washers, gaskets, gears, handles, that sort of thing. There's an electrical grade, which is a hard dielectric grey. It's 100% cotton, very flexible, sometimes called fish paper. Then there's a trunk fibre grade, which is tough and abrasive resistance, and it's used for things like trunks and drum cases, that sort of thing. Then there's a bone fibre grade, which is exceptionally hard and dense, and it's used for machining, tubing, pool cube ferrules, that sort of thing, and cut out fuses. And finally there's a wood laminating grade, which is a multi-directional grade, and it provides strength and support to expensive thin wood laminates and veneers. So very often what you've got is a very thin strip of wood over the top and paper underneath. And like I mentioned earlier, skis are a good example of this. And of course, this isn't something that's been forgotten. Since about 2004, there's been tremendous research into this. It's often called gelled cellulose, and they're looking at quite seriously. But it's another one of those things that could be done in the home lab. Now, I get written to quite a lot by people saying, okay, bioplastics, I'm looking at bioplastics. What do you think is a good one? How do I go about it? And what kind of materials would you suggest? Well, paper and zinc chloride seem like an awesome suggestion, because you could make some of this kind of material, and it is quite surprisingly tough, being parchment-like in its appearance and very difficult to tear. So if this is something you're interested in and something you want to look at, I could strongly suggest that this mildly forgotten material is something that you have a look into. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, because to my mind, paper is truly one of the greatest materials. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to like and subscribe.